Together, let's weave a web of love that transcends the bounds of time and space, uniting hearts in a journey of universal connection.
Namaskaram, Sadhguru. So I have a childhood friend. She grew up in a very uneasy family environment because her parents had a very strained relationship, due to which she grew up amongst constant fights with lack of love. So across the years, I've seen her grow up as a person who's become very reserved. She does not believe in love. She doesn't believe in the power of relationships. So how can we sort of not let such toxic relationships impact us so negatively in life?
See, everybody is finding a certain excuse for their own miseries. So, my parents were like this, so I am like this. Well, this is unfixable because we can't change your parents now, all right? Hello? Can we change them now? So, you need to understand this, especially if you have gone through tough situations in life or horrible situations in life, let's say. Is it not important that you become wiser sooner than other people? Sooner than other people who've grown up in comfort, who do not know what it is to see those things? Is it not very important that you should become wiser? No, instead you choose that you also become miserable because they were miserable people. So let us understand this much. You have an intelligence to recognize that they are living badly. How come you don't have an intelligence to recognize you are living badly right now? And you don't even have the fundamental integrity to see if I am living badly, it is me who is making this. Because there may be situations and situations. For every one of us there are situations. In fact, the more you try to do in the world, the more and more many ugly situations you will have to face, whether you like it or you don't like it, okay? Now, because you face ugly situations, will you also become ugly? Or you will use this as manure to blossom into a wonderful flower? This is a choice that you have. So everything that hurts us, everything that in some way is negative in a given situation, whether you will become wise or you will become wounded is your choice. Do not look for ideal situations because there is no such place. There is no such place. Wherever you go, there will be something happening that you think is negative. Whether it's negative or not, I don't want to make a judgment. But in a given place, you think there is negative. A whole lot of people who have applied to get into your institution like ISB, they are all thinking if I enter ISB, it is like heaven. But I'm sure there are many people in your institution who think this is the most horrible place, full of politics, full of nonsense, full of this. Aren't there such people? Hello? I'm sure they are there, you don't become one of them. Because in every place there are issues, all right? Where there are two people, there is an issue. How we conduct these issues depends on, are we in a state of conscious response to these issues or are we in some compulsive reaction to these issues? This determines how we conduct ourselves. This has become a syndrome all over the world because they've all read a little bit of Freud, little bit of Maslow, little bit of all this European psychiatric stuff. And everybody is a psychiatrist. Because my parents were like this, I am like this. Come on, huh? Where is your intelligence? If your parents were like this, you must take a vow, you will never ever be like that. Hello? Yes or no? If your parents lived so badly, if it is true, I don't even know whether they lived badly or not. This is her perception of it, all right? We do not know how they lived, but going by her words, assuming it is true, if they lived badly, is it not your business to see never ever you commit such mistakes as they're committing in their lives? Is this not what human intelligence capable of? Or human intelligence is like, they study rats and make all kinds of conclusions about human beings today. Whole lot of experiments about human beings are on rodents. Be looking at the behavior of the rodents, people say, oh, human beings like this, like this. Is it not a sad story? Being the most evolved creature on this planet, I want you to understand, for you to come to this level of intelligence, it's taken millions of years of work, of evolution, to get you here, to the peak of evolution on this planet. So being the peak of evolution, are we displaying that we are the top of the world? Are we? No, we want to sit on somebody else's head and think top of the world. No, we are already top of the world as human beings, isn't it so? But look at the way we are behaving, all the time complaining about something or the other. Let us understand this. What the world throws at us is not necessarily your choice. But what you make out of it is entirely your choice. Yes? What you make out of it is entirely your choice. Your experience of life, this much you must come to every one of you young people, if you want your potential to open up in the world, one important thing that you must fix in your life is your experience of life, either peacefulness or agitation, either joy or misery, blissfulness or suffering, whatever it is, your experience is entirely made by you. Other people are doing what they want, their drama they're conducting. It is your reaction to that which is causing these experiences to you. Right now, if I abuse you, I won't, I'm just telling you, Mrudu. Suppose I abuse you, the abuse is in my mouth. It is not a bullet, it doesn't come and hit you, but it's your reaction which causes the suffering, isn't it? Suppose I abuse you nicely in Tamil language or Telugu or Kannada, this guy will understand that's a problem. But if I abuse you in a language that you don't understand, with a smile on my face, you will think I'm saying sweet things to you, isn't it? And you'll respond nicely to me. So I'm telling you, your experience of what is happening with you right now is 100% determined by you. Human experience happens from within, not from outside. Outside influences are there. How far we allow them to affect us, unless they're physical situations. You're in a war zone, somebody's shooting at you, that's a different matter, all right? That needs to be dealt with in a different way. Even there, a conscious response will give you better chance of survival than wild reactions. So, the privilege of being human being is this, that we have an intelligence to determine what should be our experience of life. Other creatures are in a natural, instinctive, compulsive reaction. We are supposed to be above that. But most human beings are trying to disprove this, and they are also in a compulsive state of reaction. And above all, parents. Well, they are living the way they know best, isn't it? If they knew any better, they would have done better. They're doing their best. Well, they gave birth to you, which is a phenomenal thing. Maybe not willingly, but they gave birth to you one way or the other. And they gave you enough food and education and nonsense, whatever you needed, and brought you up to this level. Now don't keep on looking at the rear view mirror forever. They brought you up, you've grown up into an adult, you survived, all right? Many children die early on, parents not being able to provide. A whole lot of millions of children die in the world because parents are not able to provide for the children that they give birth to. They brought you up, you've grown up, you are in the rear view mirror. Please, leave the rear view mirror and look ahead because you can't fix your past. There is no way you can fix an yesterday, but you can create a tomorrow. Let's make that happen.
See, before we come to women, first thing is visionary. What a vision means is, say everybody has desires. Desire is an incremental way of enhancing our life. Today you desire, I must have a home, tomorrow you desire, I must have this money, tomorrow you desire something else. These are incremental ways of arranging and rearranging our lives, which are needed to do a few things. When you say, I'm a visionary, what you're saying is, I have a larger desire, which is not about just incremental improvement of my life. Desire is about me always. Vision is an all-inclusive process. So, this itself is a phenomenal thing. If people, instead of having desires, if they have a vision, vision is always all-inclusive. Desire is personal. Desire leads to incremental changes and improvements. Vision can transform the whole situation. I like music. So, about willingness, because you said you're a volunteer organization, to be a volunteer means somebody who is doing something willingly, right? There's no other compulsion. There are no financial compulsions, there are no social compulsions, there is no something else. You want to do something willingly. So when you're a willing participant, right now, you're a volunteer. I'm asking all of you, right now, are you compelled to be here or are you here voluntarily? Oh, thank you. Because I've spoken to conscripted people also. I've spoken in the prisons, I've spoken in many places. So you're here willingly. You're doing something willingly is the fundamental of your joy, isn't it so? Hello? However simple or stupid or idiotic activity it is, I'm doing something willingly, makes a world of difference, isn't it so? Hello? Yes. The difference between heaven and hell is just this, you're doing something willingly, that's your heaven. You're doing something unwillingly, that's your hell. We have already taken on attitudes, what we like and what we don't like. I like this person, I don't like this person. Now with this person I will do things willingly, with this person I'll do things unwillingly. This may be two people, two aspects of life, two communities, two nations, two many things. This I will do willingly, this I do unwillingly. This means I've decided in my mind this is good, this is bad. When I hear even on national news channels, good guys and bad guys, it just… once you have this kind of thing, you are going to be disastrous to the planet, it's just a question of time. The moment you decide, this is a good person, this is a bad person, this has gone deep into American society. No, there are no good people and bad people. Everybody is oscillating between the two. If you create a very pleasant, wonderful atmosphere, everybody behaves wonderfully. If you create an unpleasant atmosphere, a whole lot of people act nasty. Yes or no? There are joyful people and miserable people, but there are no good people and bad people.
That's big.
The moment we think we are good, we are entitled to destroy the bad, isn't it? Oh, we've been destroying a lot of people for a long time. Time to stop that because human beings are in different levels of experience and understanding, variety of people. Anybody who is not like you is obviously bad, isn't it? Isn't it so? Those who are not like me must be bad people. Because the basis of goodness and what you think is goodness is decided by you. No, you have no business to do that. Willing means this, I'm just willing. I'm 100% yes to life. I am not yes to this one, no to this one, no. I am just yes and yes to life. If you are 100% yes to life, you are a volunteer.
Oh, that's beautiful.
You have become a willing life. You have become so willing that you have no will of your own. People ask me, Sadhguru, how do you operate with all these people? All kinds of horrible questions they're asking, they're doing this, they're doing that. I said, my life is not about them, it's about me. It's about how I am. It's about me. It doesn't matter how they are, that's their choice. But how I am is my choice, this is my way. No matter what they do, I'm like this. Because I have not given that freedom to anybody, that somebody can freak me, somebody can make me angry, somebody can make me happy, somebody can make me unhappy. These privileges I kept to myself. It's time you do that too. Because if somebody else can decide what can happen within you right now, isn't this the ultimate slavery? Huh? Isn't this? Someone else can decide what should happen within you. What happens around you, of course, so many people decide. What happens around us is not 100% ours. But what happens within me must be my making, isn't it? Right now, just about anybody can freak anybody because they're not volunteers, they're unwilling. Volunteering means you have no will of your own, you can do whatever is needed. You know, we are a volunteer organization, this means all kinds of people. Most of them are not qualified for the jobs that they're doing. And I cannot fire them because they're volunteers. So people keep coming up to me on a daily basis, Sadhguru, I can't work with this person, she's so horrible, I can't do it. I tell them, see, in this world, this is the sort of people who exist, like this, like this, like this, like this is the kind of people there are. But if you want to work with ideal people, you must go to heaven. And today.
Today.
But if you think what you're doing is very significant, you must learn to work with all these horrible people. This is how the world is. If you think what you're doing is very significant, you learn to work with all kinds of people. You will see horrible people will do wonderful things. Yes?
Yes.
But if you want to work with ideal people, you won't find any. I haven't found one yet. There are all kinds of mixed bags.
Yes.
But if you are willing that you are not yes and no, yes to one, no to another, you're simply one big yes, you will find a way. See, especially if he is nasty creature, especially if it is so, this is your perception. But especially if somebody is a nasty creature in your home or in your office or wherever you are, you seeing something in a certain way is not about them, it's about you. Do you want to keep your eyes, your mind, your heart, your body pleasant or unpleasant? You make up your mind on that one. Now, if you look at him, I said even that nasty creature, please look at him, it's like me. I am not telling you that you have to listen to his teaching or take new practices from him. No. I'm saying, if you have looked at me with a certain sense of reverence, devotion, love, affection, whatever is your emotion, if you have, please see everything with that, because all I'm saying is, you have a body, you have a mind, you have emotion, energy. We're talking about your emotion right now. If you hit a certain level of sweetness of emotion at one point in your life, either because of your love or devotion or compassion or whatever, you hit a certain level of sweetness, this is the high point in your life. Now, you should not come back from that, you must see how to go beyond that. I am saying whatever was the highest or the sweetest or the most wonderful emotion you had, make that the baseline. Why are you coming back again? If you did not know such an emotion, then what would I tell you? Which is the sweetest emotion you had in your life? My child, okay, see everybody as your child. You've told you that at one time. Then I saw you sat here with tears of blissfulness and love coming out of you. Then I said, see everybody as you're looking at me right now. Because this will make your eyes, your mind, your heart, your body and your very being sweet and wonderful. This is not about him. Especially if he is being difficult, then you are being well trained. Even if you go to hell, you will do well. Yes. Because nobody has guaranteed you. Have I ever told you I will get you a ticket to heaven? I've been constantly threatening you, right here things will happen. So, you must understand this is about your transformation. The problem with you is, because you read… what are those? Well, I don't want to take names anyway. You read all those romantic books when you were a teenager and then you imagined all kinds of things. You are not first of all straight with yourself. Your hormones are working up. Suddenly you look at somebody, wow, can't believe she's so beautiful, she's so fantastic, he's so handsome, he's so wonderful, everything he does, ah! You're bullshitting yourself. No. Whatever they do, you make yourself beautiful. Now even if they're doing nasty things, you're still wonderful. This is different. You know they're doing nasty things and you're still wonderful. This is fantastic. They are doing nasty things, but you think they're doing beautiful things. This is a stupid nonsense. I'll tell you, somebody who was serving in Indian army had told me this story because we went through a similar situation somewhere else. So at that time he was narrating this. They were posted in the northeastern region where there's a certain amount of elephant population. So he is a battalion leader, he is heading about a group of 18 to 20 people, I think, they're marching in the forests. And they see a huge tusker, everybody backs off, all of them have weapons, okay, powerful weapons. This is an anti-insurgency group, that means they're fully armed and equipped. They can shoot down a tusker from 100 meters, 200 meters, whatever they want. But they all back off because that's not the reason why they are there. But he was telling me this because some situation happened like this with one South Indian person. So suddenly there was one Tamil man in the thing who was a sergeant, Havaldar. He put his weapons down and he said, "Ganapati has come, Ganesha, Ganesha." And he started chanting a mantra. He knew some Ganapati mantra, he started chanting. He ran in front and he went close to the elephant, just 50 feet away, and went down on his knees and started loudly saying the chant. The elephant looked at him, who is this bloody fool, you know? Calling him all kinds of names that he doesn't like. And these people were watching, this is some kind of a miracle happening, the elephant is just standing there and this guy is on his knees chanting. The elephant moved so quickly, and within less than 2 seconds or within probably 5 seconds, he was upon him, he just crushed him, turned back and went. These people were just aghast and they just watching him being crushed. Then some people pulled out the weapons when the person whom I knew was in charge of it, he calmed them down because it's already dead. The man is dead in one shot. Why I'm saying this to you is, elephant will not do… wild elephant is not going to do pleasant things to you because you call him a god. You call him Ganapati and try to worship him, he is not going to do, he will do what he has to do. Similarly, the creature in your house, he will do what he has to do, whatever is his characteristic. It is just about you I am talking. You're always thinking of life as a relationship. No, I want you to understand, before you were born or even when you were being born, you did not have a relationship even with your mother. This is going to be very unpopular, people are going to pick on me, but please look at it. You don't have a relationship. You just have an existence. Relationship happened because of your needs. You saw her as your food, you went for her. You saw her as the basis of your survival. You recognize that quickly, you know. The moment a child is born, hand her over to another man or another woman and let them take care of all the child's needs. Child will immediately go to them. This whole idea that you think it's coming to you because you are the mother and you delivered, no. It is because of the needs you form relationships. Otherwise, there is just existence. This existence can either become conscious and live in a phenomenal presence, become available to it, or just do or go on doing the circus. Initially, your mother was everything, she was the most fantastic creature, and then you grew up, you became an adolescent, you saw a boy, he was the most fantastic man in the world, then your mother came in between, suddenly you started hating her. Hello? Then the man came, he was most beautiful, then he became a nasty creature, or so you thought. Now you think he is the worst human being. This goes on. I want you to understand, you're making up both beauty and nasty. I am not asking you to make up. I am not asking you to think whatever this person is doing is fantastic. That's a stupid way to exist. It's just that if you see everything, whatever is the peak experience you've had, make that the baseline. This is growth. You played the snake and the ladder game? Swing, swing, you played that game? Snake and the ladder game. So when you play this game, your intent is, once you climb a ladder, you don't want to come back. You don't want to hit a snake, you want to find another ladder, go up, that's a natural expression of life. So once you know a certain level of sweetness within you, don't bring it down, that should be the basis. The next thing should be better and better. So when I said, right now you are sitting here with tears of ecstasy and love like this with me, then I said, let this be the basis, don't go down from this. See everything as this, at least let this much happen. If this is continuously happening, constantly happening, then of course you will hit another ladder. Just a little bit of time. Don't come down, that's all I said. And please don't describe him as a nasty creature. Poor man. This happened. I think I told you, maybe one of these days only I told you, I don't remember, but let me repeat this. Shankaran Pillai thought his wife is having an affair, hired a detective. I'm saying it loudly because just to remind you. Said, I want proof against her. So detective just waited outside the house, she left the house, he followed her, then she went to parked near the park, went inside. A man was sitting on the bench, the moment he saw her, he came running, she went running, they hugged. each other held hands and sat down on the bench and chatting away joyfully, laughing. He took the whole video and within a few hours he came to Shankaran Pillai in his office and said, "I got all the proof that you wanted just in one day. I did my job, I have the proof, here, watch the video." Shankaran Pillai started watching the video and said, "No, I can't believe this, no, this can't be, I can't believe this, no, I can't believe this." I said, "What you can't believe? It's a video, it's not doctored, it's just a video that I took just now." He said, "That's not the point, fool, I can't believe she's so much fun." So, after 15 days is over, when the man goes away somewhere, then you will see how much fun he was. Don't do this to yourself
For one who is seeing this life as a stepping stone for a larger possibility, for him there is no failure. For one who is looking at the simple events of this life itself as the goal of life, for him there is failure and success. If you're just seeing this life as a stepping stone for a larger possibility, if you have a good deal, you use that for your well-being. If you have a bad deal, you use that for your well-being. The economy was on the boom, when every fool could be successful. No, it didn't take much. When the economy is on the boom, everybody gets carried, isn't it? Now there has been a meltdown. Now it takes something else to be successful So, when the economy was on the boom, you could have brought a certain dispassion towards the money that's flowing in. Now the economy is down, the taps are all closed up. It's time to come, meditate, walk in the mountains. There's a lot of time. There's a lot of time on your hands, isn't it? When there was money, it took away your time and life. Now the taps are closed, lots of time, this is the time. So it doesn't matter what the hell happens. It doesn't matter what the hell happens with your life. If you are seeing this life only as a stepping stone for a larger possibility, then whatever the situation, it is beautiful and very useful. Very, very useful. Once there was a farmer like you. Who was tired of various natural factors ruling the quality of his crop. So one day he called Shiva. It was a wild card entry. So he found excess. And Shiva said, "What?" He said, "I'm tired of all the natural nonsense happening. Obviously, you're not a farmer. I know from history that you were a hunter. You were not a farmer. You don't know what it means to farm. Why don't you leave the nature in my hands? I'm a farmer. I know when it should rain, I know when there should be sunlight, I know when there should be wind, I know everything. You don't know because you're just a hunter. And you're a crazy ascetic. You're definitely not a good farmer. The wrong times it's raining, at wrong times things are happening. You leave it to me. Shiva was one of those moods, he said, okay, nature is in your hands. Then the farmer planted his crop. Planted a maize crop. Rain. Poke the land and see, okay, it's soaked up to 6 inches, stop. Then plow it, plant it, wait for 2 days. Rain. Sunlight. Today I'm working in the field, cloud. So everything just happened the way he wanted. A beautiful maize crop came. He was overjoyed, see. It's good. Nature should be in farmer's hands. And then when the time to harvest came, he wanted to see, because none of the birds were coming, he was surprised. Because that also he said, no birds, no birds. Then he went and opened and saw nice big everything, but you opened and saw no grain inside. Then he thought, what the hell is this? What did I do wrong? Then he couldn't figure out, because rain, water, sunshine, everything he managed properly. Then again he went back to Shiva. But he was in this condition. He waited for many years for him to open his eyes. By the time these many years, the fields and the family, everything went to… But he wanted to know the answer. What went wrong? He's farmer first. Then when Shiva opened his eyes, he asked, I did everything right, but there is no grain. Did you sabotage my crop? Shiva said, I've been watching. You were in charge, so I didn't want to interfere. The rain was great, the sunshine was great, everything was fine, but you stopped all the winds. I used to always send fierce winds which would threaten your crop. But because the plants felt pushed and threatened, they put their roots deeper into the earth. So grain happened. Now you have great maize crop. No maize? So, various situations in your life, either you can use it to make yourself stronger and better, or you can sit and cry. This is the choice you have. Everything. It doesn't matter what happens. The most horrific event happened in your life, that also can be used for your growth and your well-being, if you have clearly seen the small events of your life. When I say small events, I mean your business, your marriage, your children, all those big things. All these things are just a stepping stone. This is not new to you, because in this culture, they put this into you for centuries, for millenniums. They told you, your life is about mukti. Your marriage, your business, your social life, these are all just means to get there. Either you go with it or you go without it. But whether you are a sannyasi or you're in the samsara, your only goal is mukti. Yes? The goal was not just for the sannyasi, for everybody it is mukti. If you can walk alone, you walk alone. You want party going with you. You walk with the party. That's your choice. You want to get there quick, you walk alone. You want to go there having picnic on the way slowly, you go with people. Choice is yours. But the important thing is, whatever the hell you're doing, there's only one goal. So if you have set this up, then all the events of life, everything is beneficial. The boom is beneficial, the meltdown is even more beneficial actually. It is also ecologically very good, you know, the meltdown. No. So, the fear of failure. Failure is bad enough. Fear is adding spice to it, isn't it? Success happens to you not because you desire it, because you earn it. Everybody desires it. It comes only if you're capable of it. If your mind took instructions from you, would you create anxiety? Just do the simple sadhana, all of you. You can't do any other yoga. This much you can do, isn't it? You will see half your anxiety will start settling down. Because essentially the conflict is, there are two dimensions within you. If your mind took instructions from you, would you create anxiety? So don't look for answers elsewhere, elsewhere, elsewhere. It is just that your own physiology and your psychological patterns not taking instructions from you. So you said so many things, I try, you know, whatever these big words are floating all over California particularly, about surrendering to it, about letting it go, about… Not for one person has such a thing worked, ever. Has it, I'm asking you? You have anxiety, try to let it go. Does it go? Even a damn flu doesn't go. Yes or no? Even a simple cold does not go, you say go, does it go? So, let's not get into this fanciful states of surrendering, these are all words thrown around. Nobody knows what is surrender. Because when it happens, you will not know it has happened. You can't do it, I surrendered. How's that possible? So, leaving those things, essentially, as I said, you have not read the user's manual of how this works. We need to pay attention to it. The system is made in such a way, if you hold your hand like this, it'll work one way. If you do like this, it'll work another way. If you do like that, it'll work another way. It's a phenomenal process. If it was a simple thing, we could have just beaten it into shape with hammer and anvil, okay? It's too sophisticated. It's a phenomenally complex machine. One needs to pay a certain level of attention to be able to use it for what it is designed for. Otherwise, it'll get itself messed up. Now, there may be many factors, there may be genetic factors, there may be sociological factors, there may be growing up issues, you know, various things. But do not ascribe your problems to any of those things. The important thing is just this, you are not able to have your mind the way you want it. That's the only problem you have, isn't it? The moment you ascribe it, I'm like this because my father was like that, I'm like this because my grandfather's genetics were not okay, you're finished. Because we can't change those guys now. Yes, you can't choose a different father or a different grandfather now, it's over. But you can transform this. You must understand, still it doesn't matter you have anxiety disorder. Still if you put a piece of carrot, there is an intelligence here
which can transform a carrot into a human being. That means every day a new body is being manufactured within you, isn't it? In parts, a new human being is manufactured every day. When the very source of creation is functioning within you and a new human being is constantly being created, if you take little charge of that, you can create an entire new physiological and psychological process. This happened to us some time ago. Last year, we were trekking in Tibet. I was in a tent. I was doing some work and another person was cutting an apple. You know, one of these porcelain knives these days. So the other person around says to this person, "It's a very sharp knife, be careful." It irritates me a bit. I look like this because he's a grown man. If it's a child, it's different. Then we have to watch how he uses the knife. It's a full-grown man and a knife is supposed to be sharp. If it's not sharp, why do you call it a knife? So I ignored it and continued to work. In another 2 minutes, she says again, "It's a very sharp knife, be careful." I said, "Come on, he's a full-grown man, leave him alone, he knows how to use this knife. This stupid knife can't he handle? It's not some earth-moving machinery or spacecraft or something that he doesn't know how to handle. It's a knife." He says, "No, Sadhguru, it's a very sharp knife." And I continue what I'm doing. In another 2 minutes, she whispers to him, "Please be careful, very sharp." And in another 2 minutes, he cuts his finger. Then I give up, okay. This is all that's happening. This is all that's happening with life. You have an intellect for which you don't have a stable enough platform. Or in other words, you have a sharp knife, a very sharp knife a very sharp knife in your hand, but your hand is not steady. Please see, it's your own mind which is causing all this pain, isn't it? Yes or no? So you have a very sharp knife, the sharper it is, the more you cut yourself. So we don't have to blunt the knife, we just have to have a steady hand, isn't it? Nothing has been done about that. People are trying to blunt the knife with all these sedatives and nonsense. What you take is to blunt the knife. Blunting the knife is not the answer, because if you lower the possibilities of who you are, everything will be okay. If you remove half of your brain, you will be quite peaceful. Because it takes some brain to cause anxiety. If we really remove half of your brain, you will be quite peaceful and you may even be happy, actually. Nothing bothers you. You'll be okay. All right? But that's not what we're looking for. What a human being is looking for is to become limitless in some way. And if this has to happen, you have to create a steady platform. Knife need not be taken away, knife need not be blunted. Only thing is, hand needs to be steadied, isn't it? No process. What inner engineering means, what yoga means is just this. When I say yoga, being in California, don't imagine all those impossible postures. Yoga does not mean postures, yoga means union, okay? The word yoga literally means union. This is the first form of union. Your right and left. This is called as Pingala and Ida in yoga, the masculine and the feminine within you. Just put it together, just do the simple sadhana, all of you. You can't do any other yoga. This much you can do, isn't it? What you do is something that concerns your life. It could be the sun coming up. Sun is coming up. Without sun coming up, you wouldn't exist on this planet, isn't it? The warmth of life is going on within you only because the sun comes up. Without the tree exhaling oxygen and you exhaling in carbon dioxide for it and this exchange happening, you wouldn't be alive, isn't it? Like this, look at it, the food that you eat, the sun, the earth that you walk upon, air that you breathe, water that you drink, people who live around you, whatever, you choose anyone. Just do this. Put your right and left together, perfectly, not like this, perfectly, okay? Just look at something that really matters to you. Maybe the sun, maybe the sky, maybe the cloud, maybe a tree, maybe a person, maybe a child, an animal, it doesn't matter what. Just look at it, putting your hands together for 10-12 minutes at a stretch. You will see half your anxiety will start settling down. Because essentially the conflict is, there are two dimensions within you. I don't want to go into an elaborate description of this, because the yogic physiology goes elaborately into this. But to put it simply, even the modern medical science is telling you there's a right brain and a left brain, all right? Just put these two things together. Look at with utmost love and appreciation towards something that matters to you. It could be your wife, it could be your husband, it could be your child, a tree, a dog, sky, sun, moon, whatever. Every one of them are vital for your life, isn't it so? Yes? Whatever you can relate to. Putting these two things together, just look at them with utmost pleasantness that you can generate, recognizing how important they are for you. Many things will change. This is the first form of yoga. If I do this, it'll become difficult. And there are many ways to do namaskar, like this, like that, like that. This is the most simple thing. Start here, okay?
Jananam sukadham maranam karunam milanam maduram smaranam karunam kalavashadiha sakalam karunam samayadipate akilam karunam. Good afternoon, everybody, the Excellencies and ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being.
Good afternoon, Sadhguru, and good afternoon to Your Excellencies and distinguished guests, and to all the meditators who are watching on the internet right now. I'm so grateful to be here, and it's such a privilege, really, to be here. My name is Maxwell Kennedy, and I learned how to meditate from Sadhguru a few years ago. So we're here at the United Nations, and there are maybe 40 or 60 ambassadors here in 70 different countries and 7,000 people, and we're here to talk about sustainable development. So why did you start with a chant?
The chant is an invocation. An invocation means to perform different types of activities. We need to have our energies in different ways. Otherwise, most people have become competent in one way or the other, but if you ask them to do something totally different, they will find themselves totally at loss. This is simply because their energies get directed in one way only. An invocation means you kind of make yourself malleable in such a way that for every different type of action, you need your energies in different parts of your system, and you are able to graduate that, calibrate that in such a way to perform that specific activity. So when I sit here, what we need to do is different from what I was doing when I was walking down here. So this is just calibration using sounds. If we have to know the meaning, it's talking about how birth is sweetness, but death is compassion. It's a relief. We may think death is a terrible thing, but aren't we glad that someday we will die? Suppose we could not die, that would be terrible, isn't it? Suppose we can't die at all. And above all, it is talking about yoga in the sense, the chant is describing yoga as a way of transcending time. When we say transcending time, right now we have a sense of time only because we are so identified with our physical nature. Suppose we did not have a body, we would not have any sense of time. Our body is keeping time. Everything that is time is cyclical, but yoga is a dimension which wants to transcend, which helps you to transcend these cycles and make a journey beyond cyclical nature of life, which is the nature of physical existence.
Thank you. I had a teacher at Harvard who was a medical doctor, and he told me a story that when he was a young doctor, he went down to Mississippi and he saw children there in the United States, this is in the mid-1960s, who were starving. And after that trip, he went to Washington, D.C., and he tried to meet a group of senators, and he went to one after the other, and none of them would talk to him. And on Sunday afternoon, he got my father's phone number at home. My father is Senator Robert F. Kennedy. And my sister Carrie, who runs the Robert F. Kennedy Memorial, is here right now, and my wife Vicki. But he got my dad's number, and he called, and it was Sunday. My dad's with the children, and he said to him, well, all right, why don't you come over and we'll talk. And after they spoke, my dad went to Mississippi, to where this doctor had gone, and when he came back, he wrote this, he said these words, and there are others. On the back roads of Mississippi, where thousands of children slowly starve their lives away, their minds damaged beyond repair by the age of 4 or 5. In the camps of the migrant workers, 500,000 nomads, virtually unprotected by collective bargaining or Social Security, minimum wage, or workman's compensation, exposed to the caprice of fate and the cruelty of their fellow man alike. And on Indian reservations where the unemployment rate is 80%, and where suicide is not a philosopher's question, but the leading cause of death among young people. So after that trip, my father went back to the Senate, and he worked with a group of others, and they created the first food stamps program in the United States. And that is kind of the development model that I'm used to. So when I look at the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, my immediate reaction is to think, are the Addis Ababa Accords going to fund this or not? But you have a different approach. Can you talk about yoga in that context?
So when we say Sustainable Development Goals, we are talking about human well-being, addressing human well-being as 17 different issues which concerns poverty, nourishment, health, women's issues, environment, this kind of thing. Essentially, we're talking about human well-being. How can you transform the world without transforming individual human beings? This is the effort that's going on in the world for a long time. We want to transform the world, but we are not aiming at individual human beings. The world is just a word. It is just you and me. If there is no transformation in you and me, if there is no change in the way we perceive, experience and think, feel and act in this world, how can you change the world? So we can pump in money, we can have projects, they will all go up and go down. But only if we transform individual human beings on a large scale, only then there will be true transformation. This is why yoga becomes a significant thing. Today, the United Nations taking up this International Yoga Day is a very important step. I would say it's a revolutionary approach, because without transforming individual human beings, you cannot really transform the world, because there is no such thing as in reality. In reality, there's just you, me and someone else. If all of us change, the world has changed. If we refuse to change, we will be only talking about it. I've been to any number of international peace conferences, and everybody's talking about world peace in one of these conferences where there were 17 Nobel laureates. I asked them a simple question, is it true that all of you are truly peaceful human beings? Can you put your hand on your heart and say, I am peaceful? They admitted, no, Sadhguru, we don't know how to be peaceful, but we want the world peaceful. How is that possible? What you see as the world is just a larger manifestation of who we are.
Sadhguru, you can see all around the world, in Brazil, in the United States, in LA where I live, people are doing yoga. And when we're doing it, I'm stretching out my body and trying to control my breathing. Can you explain what yoga really is and how that can help attain the SDGs?
So this fundamental human longing for health, for well-being, for fulfillment of life, when you find a logically correct and scientifically ascertainable way, then we say this is yoga. Yoga means in pursuit of human well-being, we've been doing all kinds of things. We've been looking up for a long time, which has led to humanity being divided in the name of religions, castes, creeds, in so many different ways. Now in the last 50 years, I would say we are looking out seriously and we are ripping the planet apart. All the environmental degradation that we are talking about is just in pursuit of human well-being. In the last 100 years, definitely, we are the most comfortable generation ever. But we cannot say we are well because we are not really well. People are not happy, people are not peaceful. That is not happening because we have not addressed the inner nature. So when you address it in a scientific manner, rather than by belief, by philosophy, by ideologies, you address human well-being in a scientific way, this is yoga. The word yoga literally means union. When we say union, what we're talking about is, we're talking about a scientific way of obliterating the boundaries of your individuality. When I say a scientific way of obliterating the boundaries of your individual nature, what this means is, right now as we sit here, this is me, that is you, distinctly clear. But we are breathing the same air, we are a product of the same earth. What you call as myself is just a pop-up on this planet and it'll pop out. But in this little bit of time, we have divided this in such a way that we can't meet. Yoga means you obliterate these individual boundaries, not intellectually, not by belief, not by ideology, but as a living experience. We launched this was there on the video, we launched a very large-scale environmental project in southern India. The fundamental for this came from this. This happened to me when I was in the university, and recently, about 8 years ago, when I happened to be in my hometown, and after a very long time, one of my English teachers came up to me and said, now I understand why you would not let me teach Robert Frost. I said, ma'am, why would I not let you teach Robert Frost? I like Robert Frost. She said, don't you remember you didn't let me teach Frost? Then I remembered. She came one day, till then we were reading only English poets. She came and introduced the American poet and she said, Robert Frost, such a great man, and then she started off, woods are lovely, dark and deep. I said, stop. I said, a man who calls a tree a wood, I don't want to listen to this guy. She said, no, this is a very great poet. I said, I don't care how great he is, he calls tree a wood. I don't want to listen to him. Then when we wanted to start this process in southern India, when we found that rivers were going dry and the groundwater was sinking very rapidly, when I decided we will plant 114 million trees in Tamil Nadu, the simple thing that we did was, I took thousands of people, made them sit under trees, and we set up a yogic process with which they experienced that what they're breathing out, the trees are inhaling. What the trees are exhaling, they are inhaling. and they realized one half of their lungs is hanging out there. Once they realized this, there is no stopping. Even today, millions of trees are being planted on a yearly basis, all done by common people, simply because we brought this yogic experience to them, that they truly realized that one half of their breathing apparatus is actually out there, not here. So, bringing this experience into people, that what you think as myself is not within the boundaries of your physical nature, it goes well beyond that. If this becomes a living reality, then fulfilling these goals that United Nations has for the world becomes much more possible than the way it is right now, where we are trying to push in one way, but a whole lot of people are pushing in the opposite direction, because they don't even see it as theirs.
Thank you, Sadhguru. I wanted to point out this incredible thing about the tree planting project is that Sadhguru insisted that the trees be planted on small plots of land, less than half an acre, and half of the trees are fruit trees, and then half of them can be used for firewood, so that the people who live on these lands are benefited from them. They take care of the trees, and those trees actually really grow. And one of the things that's really working on is poverty. And when I look at the world today, and I see, especially in the United States, this incredible gap between people who have capital and people who don't. And it's a very disturbing sign to me, the gap between rich and poor. Can you talk a little bit about how yoga would address that in terms of sustainable development?
So we must understand this, that we have chosen an economic model which is all about everybody for himself or herself. There is no larger commitment to humanity as such, because that is market economy. Everybody does according to their own capabilities and skills and grab what they can grab. It's literally shoot and scoot economy. But we have gone for this simply because the socialistic, communistic ideas have unfortunately failed, not necessarily because they're bad, because human beings are not ready for it yet. That is, poor people who had nothing wanted to share, the rich never wanted to share, so it became a joke in the world. If rich had the consciousness to share, communism would have been a great idea, but the poor want to share, rich don't want to share. So that is the same situation here, and this is the same situation building up everywhere else in the world. Is this the best way to run the world? No. But do we have a better idea? No. So, because right now we are in that place. So the only thing that we can truly do is that we bring what we are referring to as yoga, as a living experience. Yoga does not mean twisting your body, yoga does not mean standing on your head, yoga does not mean holding your breath. Yoga means in some way you have transcended the limitations of your physical nature. You are beginning to experience life as a larger possibility, not just this physical form that you are. Once this becomes a living experience, sharing and living together will become a common experience everywhere. Does it mean we are going to start communes and everybody will live together? No, we can run businesses in a more inclusive way, we can create a more inclusive economic model, and this need not be done by government policy. This can be done by private individuals, because there are companies which are almost as large as nations today. There are companies which are bigger than nations. So it is very much possible that business can be run in a more inclusive way. Right now we are thinking only of profit. Our idea of profit is very short-term kind of idea. If you really want to run your company, if you are thinking in terms of your company prospering in the next 100, 200, 500 years continuously, then it's very important that you make your customer your partner, that you make everybody else in the society your partner. Whatever you're manufacturing or whatever you're selling or whatever the business is, whether you're selling a safety pin or a computer or a spacecraft, essentially the business is about human well-being. If this comes into the consciousness of every business person, if this comes into the consciousness of building every business, that essentially this is about human well-being. We do it in so many ways, but fundamentally it's about that. If this awareness and consciousness is instilled in the businesses on the planet, then you can find the capitalistic way of living need not mean disparity, can mean well-being to everybody.
Sadhguru, I read the other day that that for every dollar in government investment in developing countries, that there's $7 now in private investment. So how do we use yoga to yoke in the private corporations that are looking just at their bottom line to end up really having development that's fair and just?
In the last 20 years, I have largely focused on the business leaders because there was a time a few hundred years ago where the most influential leadership on the planet was religious leadership. Later on, when the military machines built up in a big way, the military leaders dominated the world. In the last 100 years, democratically elected leaders have become the most dominant force. In the next 15 to 25 years, you will see the business leaders will be the most important or influential leadership on the planet. The good thing about business is that a businessman is willing to make a deal if the deal is good, no matter who you are. I'm saying the old prejudice of I cannot make a deal with somebody is going away and they're willing to make a deal. Now, anything is sustainable only if it is beneficial to both the parties. Nothing can be sustained either in the marketplace or in marriage unless it's beneficial to both the parties. Only when it's truly beneficial to both the parties, this can be sustained. This is slowly sinking into the business leadership. I have seen in the last 20 years, prominent business leaders, their way of thinking is very, very different than what it was. My essential work has been to move individual leaders from their personal ambitions to a larger vision, because a larger vision means then the business is sustainable for a long period of time. If it's just your personal ambition, the world will work against you. If you have a larger vision, the world will work with you. This is a big difference. So this is something that is slowly sinking in. You will see, if you see annual meetings of major businesses, what they're talking, if you look at the economic forum, if you look at various economic assemblies on the planet, you will see they're all beginning to talk about a larger vision, how to make a difference rather than how to make a profit. This has become the language of the business these days. It still has to manifest in a big way, but at least the language has changed from profit to making a difference.
Thank you. Sadhguru, when you look at societies all across the world, there's a huge gap between what's available to women and what's available to men. The Sustainable Development Goals address this. What's the role of gender equality in yoga?
See, yoga means transcending your physical nature on one level. If you transcend your physical nature, where is the question of being a male or a female? You being a male or a female is relevant only in a few spaces in your life, in bathrooms and bedrooms. Rest of the places, I don't see why you should recognize somebody as a man or a woman. Why are we identifying people with reproductory organs? If you must use a body part, at least use the brain. I think a small gender difference that is there between us to fulfill a certain aspect of our life is being stretched too far. I think this is from another period where it was not possible for a woman to participate because of variety of physical situations in the world. And that is largely leveled today in most parts of the world, and it's rapidly changing everywhere, I would say. I think a more active effort is needed, at least by law in most nations, it is 100% equal. By practice, there is still discrepancies which has to be worked at. I feel it's a generational thing. Once the older generation moves out, the younger generation is not looking at it that way anymore. At least I see that in all the Asian countries. It is only people beyond 60 years of age who think in this mode. The younger people are not thinking that way anymore.
Sadhguru, I'm just going to ask you one more question because I want to save time for the audience who've been waiting to talk to you. And can you tell about how you conceive the world in 30 years?
What I see is, for the very first time in the history of humanity, human intellect is sparking like never before. More people on the planet today can think for themselves than ever before in the history of this human existence. So once human intellect begins to spark like this, unless something is logically correct and scientifically verifiable, it will fail in future. You may be willing to listen to a few things, but your children are not going to listen to anything that does not make sense to them. It does not matter from what authority it comes from. Or in other words, we are moving into an era where authority cannot be the truth. Truth will be the only authority in future. We are getting there because everybody is beginning to ask questions and people are not afraid to ask questions anymore. So this is bound to happen. Once this happens, human aspiration for well-being has to have a logically correct and scientifically ascertainable methodology, and it's of tremendous importance that today the International Yoga Day has been declared in the last 1 year. It was mooted by the Prime Minister, but it was almost like the world was waiting for it. As they mentioned, 177 countries, never before in the history of United Nations, all of them agreed upon one thing as they agreed upon yoga. It looked like they were waiting for it. Yes, the world has been waiting for a scientific and a logically correct solution for human well-being. The aspiration for human well-being will not stop. Unless we provide a proper scientifically structured methodology, then people in terms of well-being will move towards chemicals. This is a grave concern in the world. The number of people moving towards alcohol and drugs in the last 25 years must be maybe 500 to 1000% more than what it was 25 years ago. This is mainly because in pursuit of human well-being, there are no logically correct answers to their questions. That is the reason why human beings are seeking these kind of solutions. Unless we provide this is a natural progression. I see in the next 30 years to 50 years, there will be a big movement towards a scientific process for inner well-being. And this is the right time to be here at this forum and this yoga becoming a worldwide thing. We must understand yoga is not an Indian thing. If you want to call yoga Indian, then you must call gravity European, okay? Because yes, it originated from that place, because India is one place where for a few millennia we had uninterrupted time to look deep inwards and to look at the human mechanism in utmost profoundness as to how this functions, what is the ultimate possibility within this human mechanism. This has taken a few millennia to understand and arrive at this possibility. And yoga, I want this message to go, the science of yoga is not just about health, it's not just about fitness, it is an ultimate solution for every aspect of human existence. There is different types of yogas, yoga can be taught in different dimensions. The ultimate possibility of raising beyond our physical nature, the ultimate possibility of knowing life in its fullest way. The word yoga means union. The word yogi means one who has experienced this union. We need not 1, 2, 5 yogis, we need millions of them who have a sense of union with the rest of the universe, particularly those who hold responsible positions in the world. They must come to this experience because leadership essentially means you have the privilege of touching other people's lives. What you think, what you feel and what you do, every single thought, emotion and action either makes or breaks people's lives. That's what leadership means. When you are given such a privilege, it's very, very important that you are in a state of yoga, that you experience life around you as yourself. If any of us feel the work that we are doing is important, the first and foremost thing is we must work upon ourselves.
It gives me deep honor and pleasure to first give the floor to Under-Secretary General, Ambassador Vijay Nambiar, who will also be delivering a message on behalf of the Secretary General, Mr. Ban Ki-moon.
I shall just be delivering the message of the Secretary General on tomorrow's International Day of Yoga. Yoga is an ancient physical, mental and spiritual practice that originated in India and is now practiced in various forms around the world. The word yoga derives from Sanskrit and means to join or to unite, symbolizing the union of body and consciousness. Yoga balances body and soul, physical health and mental well-being. It promotes harmony among people and between ourselves and the natural world. Recognizing its universal appeal, the United Nations General Assembly proclaimed 21st June as the International Day of Yoga. This year's observance of the International Day of Yoga highlights the important role healthy living plays in the realization of the Sustainable Development Goals adopted last year by all 193 United Nations member states. As exercise, yoga has multiple benefits. Physical inactivity is linked with a number of non-communicable diseases such as cancer, diabetes, and cardiovascular diseases, which are among the leading causes of illness and death worldwide. By improving fitness, teaching us how to breathe correctly, and working to diminish stress, yoga can help to cultivate healthier lifestyles. Practicing yoga can also help raise awareness of our role as consumers of the planet's resources and as individuals with a duty to respect and live in peace with our neighbors. All these elements are essential to building a sustainable future of dignity and opportunity for all. On the International Day of Yoga tomorrow, I urge everyone to embrace healthier choices and lifestyles and to commit to unity with our fellow human beings, regardless of ethnicity, faith, age, gender identity, or sexual orientation. Let us celebrate this day and every day as members of one human family, sharing one common, precious home. Thank you.
May I now give the floor to the permanent representative of Bangladesh. Sir.
We deeply appreciate the Indian government's initiative to have the International Day of Yoga. We have learned a lot from the yoga masters, especially the perspective as to how yoga can contribute in the attainment of global peace, sustainable future, and in turn the realization of the SDGs. What I understand, without peace of mind and harmony in the body, how can we think we can change the world? First, we have to change our own world, by which what I mean is how we live, breathe, eat, think, and aspire. If we are not fit for the purpose of contributing to sustainable peace in the world, we will remain as bystanders and not as active agents of change. I can share my own personal story with my colleagues and others present here. I had been suffering from a very bad bout of sciatica problem for the last 2 months. At times the pain was debilitating. I have gone through serious pain medication followed by physical therapy and acupuncture. In fact, I am just coming here from my 6th session of acupuncture treatment. I realized that I suffered this problem because of accumulated lifestyle-related problems, which included long hours of sitting, standing, stress from the work and also from the family for the constant change of places of postings, etc. During the last 8 weeks of my ordeal, I reflected on my life and future course of action. I read a lot and searched the internet for answers, and I finally came to the conclusion that yoga is the answer to my situation. Although I did some yoga in my college days, my biggest mistake was that I discontinued that. Perhaps if I…
The morning is cool, but it's going to be a hot day. It's just like life. You don't go by what's there now. What's there now is all important in terms of experience. But what's there now is not an indication of what's going to be. Definitely not. The process of what we call as life, most of the time, except a few nasty mornings, most of the time it starts off well. At least for you, not for your mother. At least for you. Not that everybody's life, something wrong has to happen. Some people have a good deal, some people have a bad deal. With the family, money, careers, business, partners that you choose, children that you bear, and various other social, financial, emotional situations. Some people have a good deal, some people have a bad deal. Good deal or bad deal is not the point. The point is this life serving the purpose of you moving on? Because no matter how much you try to settle yourself into the comfort of what is there right now, there is something within you longing to be something more. No matter how much you think you've given up everything, you renounced, or you become lethargic enough to live in a limbo, something within you wants to be a little more, and something, whatever you know best. Either you can keep this longing, just coming to terms with it. This is how life is. Some fulfillment, some frustration, some gain, some pain. These are all the philosophies people propound to solace themselves, to tranquilize themselves, to stay half asleep. You are right now. They pulled you out of the bed and brought you. Even if they're beating the drum, are you fully alive? I want to hear some lively sound. So whenever I ask you, are you on? You say, That's better. So, bad deals can happen, not necessarily because you're stupid, not necessarily because you do something wrong, bad deals can just happen. It can just happen, you know. A leg can break, a tooth can fall off, head can crack. Somebody dear to do you may fall dead tomorrow morning. Bad deals can happen just like that, not because of a mistake, not because of something, it can just happen. It's happening to somebody every day. Every day, somebody's having a bad deal, isn't it so? Even if you try to do something very good, even then bad deals can happen. Many people around you claim they know how it will come. They wrote it on a paper, they gave you that horoscope. That horoscope which told you that this was the right man to marry. And in how many ways you discovered? How many ways? Lots of claims about life, but still, what's going to be a good deal? What's going to be a bad deal? In the world outside, you do not know. Isn't it so? You know for sure? So, if you have substantial experience of life, when I say substantial, for most of us one is not enough. When we are reminded that there has been a substantial experience of life, going through the same game over and over and over again, then you will not long for immortality. You will want to see what's beyond life. Oh, is this because there's something wrong with life? No, nothing wrong with it. It's just that it's limited. But there is something here which does not like the limited. There is something here which does not like boundaries. There is something here which will not settle for anything less than the boundless. In the evolutionary process, you can see from a single-celled animal to all that has happened now, from that single-celled animal to who you are right now. All that's been happening is to somehow bring a larger slice of life into your experience. That's all that's happened. Became little more capable to experience life, not necessarily to do. An elephant can do much more than you. When it comes to physical activity, but that's not the point. Little more capable to experience life. Because what is there now is somehow not enough. Pacifist philosophies have been taught to us to make you sleep where you are. Be content with what you have. But it's not worked. See? Early morning bad deal. Somebody's having a bad deal. See? Somebody's sure having a bad deal. Lost your child, lost your mommy. It's not a small bad deal, it's a big bad deal. But how we experience the process of life is now, for the first time as a human being, it's in our hands. Never before it was in our hands. In the process of evolution, all these millions of life forms that this might have gone through, in none of those forms we had the freedom to choose our experience. Even now, we don't have absolute choice to choose our situations. But we have been given the freedom to choose our experience. Whatever kind of deal. The inner deal, we can strike a good deal, a fabulous deal, whatever may be the outside deal. This one huge step of consciousness sets a human being apart. No other animal is able to determine the nature of his experience. The outside situations are good, they're fine. If they're not good, they're gone. But this one is capable of having an inner situation the way he wants it, no matter what may be happening around him. This ability, once this ability has come, if you exercise the choice of being conscious, it's a benediction. If you do not, it is magnified misery compared to any other creature on the planet. No other creature on this planet suffers the way a human being suffers, isn't it so? No other creature on this planet can suffer the way a human being suffers. It's deep. They do, it's not that they don't, but not this deep. Human suffering is deep. This suffering is as deep as it is. Not because life is suffering. A lot of people have come to this. So if life becomes very sweet and beautiful within you, the experience of life, the more blissful it becomes, more the longing for transcendence. People are always thinking, the suffering will seek. No. Those who are suffering, if you dangle a little bit of pleasure here, they will run after that. It's only one who is absolutely blissful, who will go straight in the path because nothing bothers him, nothing interests him. He's already in the most pleasant way a human being can be. Now he wants to go beyond, nothing else. Somebody who is suffering today, they say today, Sadhguru, I want mukti. Their idea of mukti is freedom from suffering? No. Mukti is not freedom from suffering. You cannot even seek liberation if you are in some state of suffering. If you are suffering, all you will see, all you will seek is the sweetness of pleasure and happiness, nothing more. Because people went on talking about or lived their life and made their lives an absolute suffering, that is why this whole idea of heaven. Heaven is a bloody perverted place. For sure, isn't it? No? You heard some stories about heaven, how it is? You have or no? It's a bloody perverted place, there's no question about it. No sensible human being would ever want to go there. But the whole world, at least a large part of the world, is aspiring to go there. That's their idea of ultimate, unfortunately. Exaggerated quantities of pleasure. You should try it here, you'll get sick of it in no time. Because always it's been rationed. Pleasure has always been rationed to people. They think larger quantities is going to be better. Have a large quantity of pleasure and see, you will get sick of it. Because pleasure is just a poor substitute for joy and blissfulness. And this whole game of good deal, bad deal goes beyond life. Hell and heaven is just good deal and bad deal. Even when the deal is good, you can still suffer, isn't it so? Are you not capable? Even when the deal is great, are you still not capable of suffering? So if I export you to heaven, who told you this is not? Who told you this is not heaven? How do you know? Is there any guarantee for you that planet Earth is not heaven? Do you know? Maybe you went through all that hard, bloody world somewhere and now you're in heaven. See, even the women are beautiful. It could be heaven. No? So if you land up in another place, it's not going to be any better. This silly idea they have sold for a few thousand years. It beats me. The power of marketing. Just impossible, you know, the power of marketing. Even a school-going child knows your physical body seeks oxygen, not carbon dioxide. Even a school-going child knows this. But see, they can pump carbon dioxide into a bottle and make you believe that's the best thing to drink on the planet. Power of marketing. Real thing. It is only the Indian farmers who found out the real purpose of these drinks, because they started using it on the plants. Plants like carbon dioxide. It's only the Indian farmers, the Andhra Pradesh farmers, who did the right thing with the real thing. They sprayed it on the planes and they found it works. So, what can be sold to you if the marketing machinery is strong enough? Just anything can be sold to you. And too much junk has been sold to you, all kinds of junk. All kinds of junk. The general description of the heaven is such that I wouldn't want to go there. You want? Even if it's real, still it's not an attractive place to go. Many of you married 12 wives, you want? Not my idea of heaven. So, definitely, this was concocted in a truly perverted man's mind. There's no question. Somebody who is deprived, suppressed and perverted in his head, only such a man could devise heaven. And unfortunately, uniformly across the world, the general description of the heaven just about amounts to the same things. The numbers vary, of course, depending upon the female population who make it to heaven. But about the same things. So the most perverted in any population, they are the people who thought this up. And because the perversion, when you're perverted, it gives you a tremendous sense of energy, always. See, if the policeman had as much energy as the criminal, there would be no crime. Policeman wants to go home and sleep, but the criminal is wide awake. Any kind of deviation from normal course of life process gives you an exaggerated sense of energy, always. You become fanatical about something, you will see you will have an exaggerated sense of energy. If you become very loving, blissful, you'll have a great sense of energy, but it will not expend itself the way a perverted mind will do. And these people with great energy, and they went about selling it. You sell the same product to the whole population, you never deliver it. This is great. This is like, once in a way, I think it's making everywhere, in Tamil Nadu this is making rounds, somebody comes up with $1 million currency note. You heard of these things in Chennai? Chennai people have a fascination for this. Somebody says, there is actually $1 million note with this man, it is certified by the United States government and he is willing to give it for a discount. Because he's going to give away $1 million for just 50,000 rupees. Because he loves you. And above all, he doesn't care for money. He just needs only 50,000. He does not need $1 million. Plus he's in a hurry. His wife died yesterday. Today he has to cremate. some fabulous story, and if you pant $1 million, nothing, no great loss will happen, you'll just lose 50,000, that's all. After all, you must take that much risk in life, isn't it? So this goes on and on and on. The same product, sold again and again and again. Just marketing by the power of this. Not delivering anything. So you know all the… the Madoff job. You don't know the Madoff job? No? Oh. I won't go into the financial con jobs of recent times. A simple thing, keep a cycle going. As long as the cycle is going on, great businesses can be run without doing anything as such. Collect money from 100 people, only 10 people are due to be paid today. Pay these 10 people, what's the problem? The cycle gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Collect money from 1,000 people and pay these 100 people, what is the problem? You don't have to do any business. You can just keep it going like this. One day you'll have a can in your hand. That day is not very far away for you. When death confronts you, you will see your can is empty. Nothing. Empty stories, all will evaporate. All stories, all gossip, all rumors that you heard about hell and heaven and God sitting there and welcoming you, all the damn stories will evaporate if death confronts you. You will be freaky shit scared. No? Because this is just a convenience. It's just a convenience to believe that, this is a very beautiful thing. All the Hindus go straight to heaven. If anybody dies, we never say he died, we say he reached heaven. Yes? This is because everybody makes it to heaven because that's just another place like this. So, here we never considered going to heaven as a big thing. We said if you become free from the process of heaven and hell, only then it's a big thing. Going to heaven is not a big thing. If you're born in India, you go straight to heaven. Because probably after living in India, wherever you go, it feels like heaven. A lot of people are living in such conditions that wherever you send them, they'll think it's heaven. You're in the right place. If you want mukti, you may have to strive. But if you want to go to heaven, no problem. You're born in the right place, anyway you'll go to heaven. When you die, they'll print a card and say, he's reached heaven. It's printed. Have faith in the printed word. I'm not just ridiculing, this has happened across the world, isn't it so? The damn printed word is negating everything that's life. If you look around and let life speak, you will see the damn printed word is negating everything that life speaks. But still, it's printed. This is not printed, you have to be conscious to listen. That's printed. Any idiot who is literate can read it. Literacy doesn't take intelligence, isn't it? Does it? Does it? They're saying, Literacy doesn't take intelligence. If you're born in a certain society, you become literate, isn't it? Every idiot becomes literate if you're born in a certain society where there is certain apparatus of education. And every fool can read this stuff, the printed word, which somebody says is sacred. It goes against life, it doesn't matter. It makes people fearful, guilty and confused, it doesn't matter. Only because it's so great, it can confuse a great mind like you. Isn't it? No. Causing confusion is very easy. Bringing clarity is another world. Bringing clarity into people is another thing. Causing confusion is very, very easy. It can be done. You just go up to somebody, say, "Do you see the tree, how blue it is?" Say, "What? What, don't you see? It's blue and don't you see the pink fruits?" It's very easy to do this. They've been doing it for thousands of years. See, if somebody said, "This is a place of God," they should have demanded, "Put your life down here." They're asking only for 2 rupees. In ancient India, people themselves lived in huts, small shacks without any amenities, but they went about building grand temples. Grand. Superhuman effort. Looks like something of the divine should have touched them, because their own lives did not matter. How they lived, they did not care. These people at least are real believers, at least they believe. This is just a trick. All you're looking for is a pet, but a heavenly pet. It is not that there is no meaning to this, it is not that there is no basis to this. It is just that the way it is done. If these devices are just ways of bringing about a constant sense of devotion, if these devices are only a means to make a human being sensible, I can understand. 1,000 years ago or 10,000 years ago, maybe this was the only means they had. that's okay. But it's being sold as real, not being presented as a device, then that becomes a problem. So what is this whole search? Sadhguru, I'm not feeling any great search within me. All I feel like right now is breakfast. Yes. But you know, you're not yet in heaven. This is Isha Yoga Center. People don't eat breakfast here. Why can't we just enjoy the mundane? In every little thing, why can't we find pleasure and joy and just do it? You must do that. If you cannot even do that, you're no good. You're no good for anything. If you cannot enjoy the sunrise, if you cannot enjoy the breakfast that you eat, if you cannot enjoy the air that you breathe, if you cannot enjoy the earth that you walk upon, you're simply no good for anything, because even birds and animals are doing it. Yes? So, if you're not even able to do that, this is sub-animal state. I believe that many of you managed to do that. So we are saying, what is the next possibility? Because there is something within you which longs. Either you put the longing to a little bit of sleep with too much breakfast, or you've confused the longing by creating false longings. See, whatever a human being is seeking, whether you're seeking money or you're seeking pleasure, you're seeking food, starting from the fundamental of food, because food is the first thing that you cried for when you were born, isn't it? See, that child you heard some time ago, he's been brainwashed, conditioned. Now he cries, "Mummy." No. First when he cried, first when you cried, food. Isn't it so? Even now, it's food that you're crying for, but it comes through mummy. So starting from this fundamental longing for food, what is the longing for food? One thing is the physical hunger, nourishment, but beyond hunger also you're eating, isn't it? I can see. Food ingestion, digestion, assimilation is a way of taking something which is not a part of you and making it a part of you. If it happens on the lowest level, we call it food. If it happens on the highest level, we call it yoga. Yoga means union. In between, there are many ways. Sexuality, ambition, this one, that one, a million other ways. But the longing is for unity. Somewhere, there is a longing to include something and become little larger than who you are right now. starts with that fundamental cry of a child just born, which is just basic about food, then various types of cries will happen along the way. All these cries are confusing the fundamental longing to include, the essential longing. Hello? The essential longing is to include. By eating, by possessing, by conquering. These are all the crude ways of doing it. But the same longing, singular longing, right through your life, please see, from the moment you were born, you're still crying for the same thing. You want to include something more as a part of yourself. All I'm telling you is, don't go by installments. Nobody ever does it that way. You cannot count. I think we can do it. We have 2 full days. All of you can start counting right now. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm sure by Sunday evening we would have reached infinite if we do it incessantly. No? 2 days, non-stop counting, 48 hours. I think we can make it. Oh, you are a problem. 2 days of counting will get you to infinite. You do 1,000,000 years of counting, you will not get there. Your longing, whatever the longing for, whether it's for food, it's the pang of hunger, or lust, or ambition, conquest, it is the same longing. If you bring little more consciousness to this longing, you will see this is not what you're longing for. What you're longing for is inclusiveness. So you can confuse the fundamental longing with variety of things, running after this for 5 years, running after that for 10 years, running after another thing for 25 years. Then, when you're still wanting to run, it's gone. A 94-year-old man in Kentucky. You know what's Kentucky? These are people who breed horses. A 94-year-old man who lived on a horse ranch all his life, whose whole life and work is with studs. At 94, he married his 6th wife, who was only 18 years of age. You know, there's a large ranch. So, he met his wife on the first day, and then he asked her, "See, do you know what we are supposed to do?" Just like Adam. "Did you talk to your mother? Did she tell you some facts about life?" She said, "No, I did not speak to my mother. I do not know any facts about life." And he said, "I think I know, but I've forgotten. I've been out of the active involvement with the ranch for the last 10 years and I've forgotten." You've forgotten, but still the pattern has not stopped. Many things are just like this with life. You have forgotten that the only longing is for inclusiveness. Here and there, whatever comes your way, you want to grab and include, little by little, piece by piece. You will not get the cosmic. You will not get the existence that way, piece by piece. It's too many pieces. Nobody can put it together piece by piece. Either you swallow it whole or you don't. That's how it is. As I told you yesterday, you must… every step you take, every breath you take, I want you to see that whatever you're in touch with now, this planet, the air that you breathe, the sky, the mountain, everything, if you're willing to look at it in a certain way, is overwhelming. If you're willing to see that you as a person, though you can walk, talk, do this, that, you're still not grasped any one of them. You don't know. The blades of grass here may be laughing at your ignorance. They are actually. Do you hear? I want you to hear, because that's how it is. Everything here knows life except the human being. Because he was given the power to transcend life, he has chosen to go under. He was given the freedom not just to be life, he could go above life, but most of them chose to go below. They're not even enjoying life as a tree is enjoying life. It only suffers if it has a bad deal. You're capable of suffering a good deal. No breakfast is a bad deal, but there's lunch coming at 9:30, that's a good deal.
Continue your journey of self-discovery and consciousness expansion with us. Share this video to inspire others to join us on this journey of personal growth.